Hi, y'all. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here. My name's Sarah Smith. I'm the Senior Partnership Marketing Manager at Curbio. So I work with our enterprise partnerships, EXP specifically. I love working with EXP agents, just a disclaimer, because y'all are always tech savvy, energetic, and just thrilled to be solutions oriented. So I was absolutely delighted when we were asked to come speak with y'all. And I know Bic, as well, as she finished a project with Curbio. So delighted to work with you on that. Hopefully we'll get some more projects underway with y'all, but we're doing lots in the DMV area. And I'm just so excited to share with you all about your EXP solution for pre-listing updates, Curbio. Just a show of hands, are y'all all familiar essentially with who we are, what we do? Okay, amazing, great. Feel free, I wanna really have this be a dialogue and a conversation, so I'll run through my slides, but then I wanna open it up to questions, and nothing is a silly question. Happy to get into the details, the nitty gritty, so wanna get under the hood there. Will you advance slides for me? I'll just give you a thumbs up. Awesome. Just quick background about Curbio. So we are prop tech startup. We are headquartered in Potomac, Maryland, but we are present in about 60 markets across the country. DMV is a huge market for us. Our reach here, in Virginia, we go all the way out to Fredericksburg, we're down on the peninsula, we're in Richmond, we're in Newport News. I often get asked if we're in Williamsburg, Virginia. That's like a one little bubble we don't cover, but we, on a case-by-case basis, we'll definitely consider it as long as we have coverage for PMs there. And we're in Baltimore, we're on the Virginia side of the Eastern Shore, not the Maryland side yet. And then, of course, Philly, Delaware. So we're all over, everywhere y'all are operating. Being a prop tech, a startup, we're really forward thinking, and our ultimate goal is to be your contractor, your go-to solution for every single update that your listings need to be market ready, and of course to be forward thinking and powered by technology. Go to the next one. I highly encourage y'all, if you're not in our EXP Workplace group yet, join us there. I post in there almost daily, I'd say 3 to 5 times a week, but join our EXP Workplace group. That is where we have so much content. It's where we share before and afters. It's where we share highlights of our process. It's where we share project kickoffs. We just launched 2 new markets yesterday, Tucson and Sarasota, Florida. So I'll be posting in there about those. So market launches, recently completed projects, updates, agent trainings, which we host a lot of, webinars. So definitely join us in Workplace if you're not there already. Would love to see requests from all of you to join our group and continue to follow us there. Also, to plug, download the Curbio app. Y'all should have a handout about it, but you can do it on the QR code here too. Download our app. What this does is it really puts the power of Curbio in your hands when you're going to your listing walkthroughs. And so what we've done, you'll see when you download it, you just set up an account. It's really easy to do. And what this allows you to do is build an instant estimate with us. So if y'all know about Curbio, if you've worked with us before, you know that everything with us begins with an estimate request. Our estimates, we want to have that back in hand to you within 24 hours. We know you're operating in an industry that is built on speed. What this app allows you to do is to get an estimate PDF that you can share with your sellers even faster than 24 hours. Of course, you can still get in touch with our team this way, but once you download it, you'll actually be able to put in your listing address. It'll pull it right up. It'll ask you then, what types of projects are you going to be doing? Are you doing a kitchen refresh? Are you doing a bathroom refresh? How many square feet of carpet are you doing? How many square feet of painting? So you can really instantly see and show your sellers, here's what pricing is going to look like. Of course, it's all paid at closing because we defer 100% of cost till closing. But you can also show the ROI, projected ROI on those projects. So that's something you can have to have that conversation at the listing walkthrough. You can send it directly to your sellers, that estimate, so that they can start to get a feel of what things might look like right away. It's a truly powerful tool. I will say that the projects you can build in the app, they are absolutely not all inclusive of what we do. We truly work on projects large, small, any scope as long as it's tied to the existing square footage of the home. But what you can build in the app is like our top 10 most common projects. So just know you can always refine that scope of work further, but it's an awesome starting place as you're walking through to get a sense of pricing, to get a sense of ROI. Go ahead. And this really just shows what that estimate process looks like. This is what you'll get at the end, is this lovely like PDF that you can put in the hands of your sellers right away. And then you can send the estimate request right to our team from the app, and then you'll hear from a member of our sales team pretty immediately to get on the phone with you to talk further about scope of work and to really get the conversation going. So this is what it looks like. Highly encourage y'all, play around with it. It's great to just see instantly what you can build. The other thing, if you want to go back, actually one more. The other thing you can use our app for is inspection report repairs. So you can upload your inspection report directly to our app, and we will do two things. We will price out. You can use this for pricing, so that you can use us, use that information for negotiations, of course. We cover the cost of pricing those out, so that's a free service that we provide y'all, and use those for negotiations. If you want to send that scope of work to us to complete, of course, we'll handle the repairs, and then your sellers will pay us at closing. So super easy, end to end. Use us to take care of those inspection repairs so that you can get to closing faster, or negotiate. It's just easy to put a number in front of your buyers. All right. I want to call attention to a new program we just launched, reward system we just launched for EXP. EXP launched this. We're so excited to be a part of it. For every single Curbio project that y'all complete, you receive $1,000. So this is part of our partnership with EXP. It is supercharging your commissions. It is rewarding you for putting a move-in ready listing on the market. We are so excited to bring this to market. I will say projects have to be $10,000 in scope or more. That is a prerequisite. And you will get paid out at the end of the quarter. Like we reconcile every quarter. You get paid out after that project is completed. So it's upon completion. Go ahead.
Does it get paid as a commission or just as
a? It gets via ACH. So it's like a payment from us directly to you.
To us or to EXP, and then EXP pays us?
So that's a good question. In terms of teams, it'll get paid to your team leader, and then they will disperse it.
I'm just wondering if we're going to get taxed for it as a commissioner.
Oh, that's a good question. I'll take that back and I'll find out.
I think it goes on your 1099, right?
Like as income.
I think, is there a disclosure that needs to be provided too, just because there's no compensation?
I think so. Yeah, we have a whole, we have a whole terms and conditions page. I'll share that with y'all.
Is that in the contract that when the client signs it, it's in there already?
It's not, to my knowledge, it's not, because it's a separate, it's like a separate thing. I'm going to take.
Aren't you supposed to disclose it at the time, not after the fact?
Not after the fact, right.
It's like you mean like an ABA, right?
Yeah, like I think it should be in the original contract.
Is it in the ABA? Are you in it? I mean, as a
Affiliated
business partner, so that because you are giving that bonus?
Again,
Really a bonus.
it's like a bonus. I'm going to take all these to our team because these are all things we have to get straightened out. I know, like at the high level with EXP, they're like ready to go. But you're absolutely right. It probably means we're going to have to update our contract that y'all, like our specific Curbio contract for EXP projects. So let me take that. I'll get further clarification. I'll let you guys know. But do you know that this is in effect now? It is retroactive as well to the beginning of this year. So if you already completed a project with us, yay, you'll be getting an extra $1,000. So it's awesome. It's a reward for y'all. Extra incentive to work with us to get your listings market ready. All right. So really, when you're thinking about using Curbio, and the position you want to bring to your sellers, I mean, y'all know this, right? Buyers want move-in ready homes. Everybody is cash strapped, interest rates are high, no one wants a fixer-upper. I myself live in one, and I can tell you going through the process of updating it is a pain. So it's really important to be putting those move-in ready listings on the market. Y'all also know that sellers want solutions. I'd love to hear from y'all too, but what we're hearing so frequently is sellers, they want an all-inclusive experience. It's not just about opening doors, giving tours, walking people around. It is really about putting solutions in front of your sellers and coming to them, as a problem-solving agent. And so that's really where Curbio comes in, and ultimately, what our position is, what we do for you all as EXP's solution. So you can use us for all services needed to update every single listing for market. No project minimum, no project maximum, and we truly mean that. You can work with us on projects, if you want to just use us for new flooring and swap out hardware or swap out appliances and fresh paint and patchwork, you can do that. Of course, we also do hundreds of thousands of dollars of renovations and full rip and replace full guts. So you can truly use us for projects of all sizes and scopes. We are the licensed and insured GC on every project, and then we supply you with a project manager. They manage the full scope of contractors and tradespeople. We supply all materials for the job as well. We have a curated catalog of materials that your sellers can select from, so we're really streamlining that process. And then with every project, you get visibility into what's going on. So there's a portal that you can see inside of. You can see that's your whole system of record for every project. It's very meaty, very robust. It's truly like a live feed of what's going on. Bic, I'm sure, can share, but you get updates from your project manager. You can go back and forth there, and your seller has access to that portal as well. So they have full agency to contact your project manager, hopefully removing y'all as that middle person go-between, as well as providing a place for if your project needs extra attention, if you need to escalate concerns, if you feel like your PM isn't doing enough quickly enough, you can always hit the escalation button in there and it'll jump up levels to our regional directors and help to have those issues rectified. We recognize that this is construction, that there's always going to be bumps along the way. We want to help to make those as smooth as possible and to make it as transparent as possible for you and your sellers throughout the process. In terms of how to bring Curbio to every listing conversation, we like to lay it out this way. Of course, y'all know, move-in ready homes, they're what everyone wants. But in terms of how you think of us, as compared to traditional home improvement and selling as is, really traditional home improvement, cash or credit is required right up front. You have to pay out of pocket. And let's face it, even if you have 25 grand sitting in the bank, you don't want to spend it on a home that you're selling. Curbio, of course, defers all costs until closing, so that issue is completely taken care of. Traditional home improvement as well. The updates that a GC is going to complete, in a home for the sellers, they're going to be to the seller's taste. They're not necessarily going to be focused on move-in ready, on what buyers want, the trends that buyers want. We are truly focused on profit-driven, buyer-friendly updates. We always say we're not here to build your seller's dream kitchen. We're here to build the kitchen that the buyers want to see. We're here to make it agreeable. We're here to make it move-in ready, fresh, to compete with those new builds. And then, of course, you have to vet, manage, hire the subcontractors. When you do traditional home improvement, you're stuck in this position of project manager. You're tracking people's schedules, you're calling, you're following up. We want to help alleviate that and remove that, give you your time back so that you can build your business, so you can build your relationships, so you can chase down new leads, and not be in that PM position. Of course, selling as is, you risk selling below comps, and not getting top dollar. You also risk someone buying it and flipping it and making a boatload more money. And if you had just flipped it yourself using Curbio, not pay $1 till closing, your sellers could have seen that return. And then, of course, eliminating a pool of buyers, right? And right now with the markets, like every buyer is precious. You want to appeal to as many as you possibly can. So don't turn any anyone, don't put anyone off by not having a move-in ready home on the market. So again, great way to bring this to the listing conversation, how we stack up against these two more traditional options. So just some proof points, some numbers to share. In terms of the power presale updates, we did our very first ever ROI report, and that's what this handout, it has stats from our ROI report. All of these numbers are taken across, aggregated from our thousands of projects that we've completed. So know that these are national numbers. They are based on the full swath of Curbio projects. If you want to see more market-specific ROI numbers, I've got a link. It's linked on your EXP marketing materials page to a market listing toolkit, and you can see ROI by market. But just know these are kind of our high-level numbers that we share. We see that 68% of agents are winning listings with Curbio. Agents who are presenting this type of solution, 68% of them are winning those listings because, again, sellers want solutions. And so helping you win listings by giving you this tool in your toolkit is crucial, it's important, and we want to be a part of that. I love these two stats, and really these stats on the top 10 home improvements with the best ROI. A 377% ROI on kitchen refreshes. So kitchen refreshes, that's where we don't gut it all. Say you have cabinets that are in pretty good shape, but they could use a refacing, they need new hardware, you want to drop in new countertops, a new backsplash, new flooring, make it look brand new, but you haven't ripped anything out, you haven't moved water. It also cuts down on time, of course, because you don't necessarily have to go for permits depending on how much you're doing in the rest of the home, but a huge return on these. In terms of how this stacks up against remodels, which is where we rip out everything, we saw a 220% ROI on remodels. And then of course, cost-wise, refreshes are gonna come in lower because you're not taking everything out. You don't have to pay for new cabinetry. Also on bathrooms, huge area to refresh, 256% ROI. Tub reglazing, again, putting a new tile on the back, refreshing vanities, changing out light fixtures. I mean, small things that you can do to really make a huge impact. It's worth it. And then 50% fewer days on market. Homes updated with Curbio spend less time on the market just because they are move-in ready, and especially now with the ability to tackle inspection repairs too. It should be smooth sailing getting to closing and really help to eliminate any of those hiccups. Yeah.
So for the renovations, you do get permits and everything? All the
Yes.
approvals
Yep.
necessary?
So we manage the permit process. Our PMs manage that. Yes. And we go through that whole process for you.
On an average redo of not ripping everything out,
Yeah.
replacing and stuff, and maybe freshening up a bathroom, what's your time frame?
So I know it's such a bad answer, but it's it depends on the scope of everything else. I'll say one of our project managers, she was just telling me this yesterday. I mean, if we're not ripping everything out, it's 6 to 8 weeks maybe. If we're full on ripping things out, 10 to 12. Again, depends, could be faster. I'll say our materials, if they're in stock and you're selecting from a catalog of materials, so of course it could be quicker. It just, again, it depends on what else you're having done, the rest of the scope.
So if you have to pull permits, obviously it's going to be longer.
Yeah,
And
yep.
So you do have the ability, so you used to have just a warehouse where you had to pull from what you had.
Yep,
Everybody's kitchen basically was the same.
yes.
Is that still the same way?
So yes, but there's a but. So I'll say yes, that we supply all the materials. We call it a curated catalog. So we've got, your choices. All our choices, they're above builder grade. We have 2 lines of everything, sort of more, I don't want to say basic, but your entry level, again, above builder grade line, and then a more premium or luxury line suitable for, more luxury homes or just projects where you want to upgrade a little. So you have options, but they are limited options on purpose, just because, you don't want to give your sellers the whole run of floor and decor, because you'll be stuck forever. So we want to limit those options. Yes, I will say, and I've got before and afters where you can see and you're like, okay, that's a Curbio kitchen, that's a Curbio bathroom. Like they look they're move and ready. Buyers don't care. They, they want the, fresh, open,
So for like a luxury home, you have that premium now,
Yes.
you didn't before.
Yep.
So that's nice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's right. And that extends, I'll say, it's not just cabinets, it's, countertops, it's backsplash, it's flooring, it's appliances as well. We have full comprehensive appliance packages, your more basic all the way up to Viking and, very expensive ones you'd want to put in higher end homes. So you can use us even for things like appliance swaps, do an appliance package with us and replace everything in the kitchen, light fixtures, hardware for cabinetry, again, flooring. So yeah, it's when you had looked last time, probably it was much more limited. It's expanded now, but again, it's all going to be, it's on trend. It's refreshed by our team of designers every so often to make sure it's following trends, and it includes everything. I mean, from paint to, light fixtures and kitchen appliances. Yeah.
And they'll have a budget, and that designer knows that and will push them to.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yes. And, oh, amazing, great. I didn't know this was stuck in here. This is just your ROI numbers that are here on this handout. So awesome. You can see, again, here just called out. And also, this is great to keep in mind for the types of projects people use us for, agents use us for. Everything from putting in new hardwood floors to, I know, BIC's project manager, Angela Bianchi, her most favorite project to do is refinish hardwood floors. And she always says we're lucky to live in an area where, especially older homes, they're going to have, or homes even from the 70s and 80s, they're going to have great hardwoods. She has the best hardwood floors guide to refinish those, to keep them, to preserve them. So it isn't always, we're not always pushing you to let's rip everything out and make it LVT. You really, we want to work with you to have that conversation about what can we preserve for character, or, what can be kept here and how can we refinish. Go ahead. And this really lays out the types of projects we can work on. I'll just say, calling out as well, keep in mind you can use us truly for everything, small all to large, no project minimums, no project maximums, no seller credit checks. Many, competing concierge programs are going to have a ceiling that you can't go above, or they may have seller credit checks, they may have progress payments. We remove all of those. It truly is 100% cost deferred till closing. In terms of categories of the work we do, basic listing prep is really your just small things, patch and repairs and maybe paint the trim, fresh coated paint. We do staging as well, and the way that we handle staging, you can kind of do it in two ways. We do have in-house Curbio staging, we work with stagers. We have our own that we'll source if you want to, you don't have someone who you like working with. If you do have someone you want to work with, you can absolutely do that. We have them stage the property. They give you the invoice. You give that to us. We pay them immediately, and then we're paid back at closing for staging. Yeah, sure. So if you have a stager who you like working with, which I'm sure y'all all do, you can have them stage the property. They'll bill you. You give that invoice to us. We'll pay them right away, so they don't wait until closing to get paid. We pay them right away, and then we get paid back by the sellers at closing.
Is there a premium for that?
There's not. Yeah.
That's only if they use you for other improvements?
Yes. Well, yes and no. I mean, you can use us just for pay at closing staging. You can use us just solely for staging if you want.
Well, where are you making money there then?
Because we're, we want to give that to the sellers. Yeah, yeah.
Next time you're gonna use them for everything.
Exactly. Well, and it's likely, I'll just say, it's likely that if you're going to use this for staging, your sellers are also going to be like, wait a second, my daughter's bedroom is pink. Can we let's freshen that up. So it's I will say most of the time, agents who work with us just for staging are also doing, at the minimum, some kind of basic listing prep, or landscaping cleanup or junk removal or something like that. So
The stager will go in and say it would be better if that was neutral.
Absolutely.
Get that painted.
Yep. Yeah, and our team as well, your first point of contact at Curbio is, we call them home improvement consultants. They're a member of our sales team. But we call them HICs, and that's really their role, is to advise on, I mean, y'all are experts, of course, in doing that too. You can walk any listing and say this would be way better if it wasn't like this. But if you need someone else in your corner to call that out, that's what our team is there for too. And so again, you may, come to us thinking initially you want to just use us for staging, and end up you're doing a couple other little things along the way. So. That's basic listing prep. Refreshes, I mentioned, again, we're not gutting everything. It's really just updating the existing floor plan completely. Remodels, of course, we can rip everything out, replace everything. We can even take walls down, expand floor plans. We have designers and architects on our team who will help with the visualization of that for sellers, or who will present some options. Exterior updates, as long as it is tied to the existing footprint of the home, and I'll say that with all of these projects. We don't add on square footage, and we're not going to put in a swimming pool for you. But if there's a pool and it needs updates, we can do that, repairs, updates, decks as well. I was asked for a project in Florida if we would update the boat dock, and of course, it conveys with the property. So yes, we rebuilt that. So think inside and outside. That's actually what Curbio stands for, is curb appeal inside and out. So think of us for exterior updates too. And then I've talked about inspection repairs. Related services, this category, if you're already working with us on a project, and the home doesn't have to be empty, of course, depending on the invasiveness of it, your sellers may want to relocate temporarily if they don't already have their new home. We will, if they need to get an Airbnb, they need to do some kind of temporary housing, they can, of course, book that themselves. We don't book it for them, but they can give us the invoice. We'll pay them back for that cost of temporary housing. I'm not advertising this, but I've even heard that we have paid for dog daycare because their dogs couldn't be in the house while the updates were happening, and they had big dogs. So so think of it as I would say that related services piece is really the concierge-y, it's all concierge, but they need to get a pod, they need to put stuff in storage temporarily. You can roll that into the project as well. Questions about this scope of work? Yeah.
So in terms of inspection repair, just because hearing of kind of getting the home ready ahead of time, it's 4 to 6 weeks.
Yep.
Is the timeline for those inspection repairs, can you do it much quicker?
Usually yes, because it's small, they usually are smaller things, but yes, we know there's an extra emphasis on speed when it comes to inspection repairs, so yes is the answer. We want to work fast on those, so yeah.
So with the app, either the agent can be the person to decide what we're gonna get a quote on, or the project manager can come out and do it in person, or what?
Good question. So everything starts with the agent. We always say you are our client, and then your seller, you bring them to the conversation to be your client, joint client. But everything starts with the agent. And then what happens, I think there's a slide on our process. Do you want to skip ahead? I'll talk about that in a second. You want to skip ahead to this guy. We'll come back to the project budget. Everything starts with an agent. You request an estimate in the app. What happens then is you talk to a member of our sales team, home improvement consultant. They're going to reach right out to you, get you on the phone. They want to talk ballpark. Hey, you've already built an estimate. Great. Okay, I see generally what you want to do. What else? And then also they'll ask things like, what are you looking to sell the house for? What do you think the ARV could be? What's the as-is list? Timeline, how, et cetera. All those kinds of zoning in questions. The next step for our process, it's not a Curbio rep who comes to the property, but we actually have a Matterport. We work with Matterport across the country. They come, they take a 3D full image of the interior of the home, and then we have you, your seller, and the HIC sit down on a Zoom call all together. We started doing this in COVID, and we just haven't stopped because it just kept things moving so nicely. Sit down together and that's the walkthrough of the home. And that's really where, good cop, bad cop, our team, the HIC is really there to consult and to recommend, hey, this is what I would do. And to your point, sort of do a good, better, best, right? Like, hey, basic is gonna be these 3 things, you know, better is gonna be, let's totally refresh the kitchen, and the best is we're taking down the wall between the kitchen and the dining room and really blowing it out. So having that conversation, running those scenarios, that your seller is ultimately the one who makes the decisions about what's gonna be done. We always get asked that, you know, is this like they're forced into what's happening and our team is just telling them, absolutely not. It's truly a team approach, and it really is a conversation. After that walkthrough, that's when we finalize the scope of work. Your seller is going to receive a fixed price proposal where every single piece of work is line itemed out, has a price attached to it. I will say, just by nature of having that in detail walkthrough conversation, the number that you saw on your general estimate versus the number you see on your fixed price proposal will probably be different, right? Your general estimate, you know, you don't have every single piece of work built in there. Fixed price proposal, the number's probably going to be higher, or not, depending on what your seller decides. But line itemed out, so you see every single piece of work going to be done. If everyone's on the same page about that, that's when we go to contract, and then your seller is the one who signs the contract with Curbio. The agent is never liable. It's always a contract with us. And then after that, we kick off. You move from coordinating with your home improvement consultant to your full-time project manager. And that's a handoff. We have a full, you know, a team who assigns the projects. Your project manager is then your dedicated point of contact for the rest of your project. So that's how does that answer your question? Other questions about our process? How you get started, how it all works?
So
Yeah.
I'm making a progress with one right now.
Okay.
Any chance that, because like right now, how it works is you have that separate app,
Yes.
and then there's a
The
website,
dashboard.
the
Mhm.
dashboard, so like it's like
Yeah.
separate. Are you guys working on combining?
We sure are. Yeah, we are. That is coming. I've been told that I can tease that that's coming. Yes, I don't have timeline on it, but I know that's like our product teams. That is a huge priority because you're completely right. It is. They're separated right now. We want to get it to a place where you're managing everything in that Curbio app. Because right now, the app is used for requesting estimates, building estimates, and submitting home inspections. And then what we have separately is a web app, like a web portal, where you manage the project, and that's where you see everything going on. Our goal is to, and it's being worked on, I've been told, it's being worked on, is that they will all be living in that Curbio app. So that'll be your one place to work with us. Yeah, so it's coming. Yeah.
Random question while I'm thinking about it. If the seller can pay upfront, is it a different cost than getting paid at closing?
Well, that's a good question. I've never been asked that before. I think the
the
answer is no.
That's part of the
Yeah.
If the price goes down, then they have to agree with Curbio. They have a thing in there that says, if the house isn't sold by such and such time, it will go down this amount. Curbio and them, yeah.
Wait, can you explain that?
No.
No, I thought that,
No, maybe back in the day.
okay, that's,
Any longer, we have no stipulations on, you know, here's how long it's got to be. I mean, especially right now, the market, there's things sitting for
I think the
60, 90 days.
To answer Megan, so the benefit is, especially for the people that don't have, it's like a no-brainer for someone that doesn't have upfront money or they don't want to deal with it. they
Yeah.
want to Keep things liquid, that's the best, because there's a little bit of a premium, obviously, so it's built in there. But to take that away and say pay upfront, Curbio doesn't need that money, they've had all that pool of money, so that's part of their money. They don't want people to pay upfront.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's their business model is that's why they do that, so it's not a
And
benefit.
so there is, what is the timeframe where it's due? What if the house doesn't sell?
Good question. That's a good question. So, time frame, I'll talk about a couple of different things. So, backing up just slightly, we stipulate that you're going to put the house on the market within 5 days of us finishing work. Believe me, we're flexible, and also it's not an all of a sudden, like, okay, we're done, we're out of here, put it on the market. There's phases that you go through. You'll be well aware. Of course, we've seen it happen where the agent's out of town, they can't get photography lined up, yada, yada. That's fine. We'll work with you. I'm just telling you that's what's stipulated is it's going to go on the market within 5 days. In terms of what happens if the house doesn't sell, again, in our contract, it says that you have 12 months from signing of contract. We're going to be paid at closing or within 12 months of the contract being signed. If we go beyond 12 months, then we start to accrue interest after that. but there is no interest for that 12-month period. We have seen it, I'll say a handful of times, have seen it happen where the sellers have pulled the listing, they want to stay put, situations change, love it or list it, whatever, they want to stay. That's okay. At the end of the day, we're a GC, and we get paid just like any other GC. So if there's no closing, we're just due payment for the work that we completed. And as long as it's within that 12-month period, there's no interest accrued, there's no penalty, nothing like that. We're just due work for the payment, payment for the work we've completed. I'll say too, like just to CYA, but also so in circumstances, special circumstances, if the sellers have had to go beyond the 12-month period, something crazy has happened, whatever, we will work with them. So it's always, honestly, it comes down to communication to make anything a success. But that's really, that's our position on that.
So that changed. 'Cause
Yes.
5 years ago, that was one of the things.
Yep.
That you and the sellers, it was 5% decrease if it
Yep.
didn't sell by such and such time, a 10% decrease.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And
No.
I was totally out of it.
Yeah.
Because of the relationship between them and an agreement in that contract.
Yep.
So I didn't have to say, oh, we need a price reduction.
No, I mean, and really, there were a couple of things that changed. That was one of them. And I mean, truly, it comes down to, y'all are the experts in your markets.
Mm-hmm.
You know what to list the house at, so it's going to move. You know when you need to reduce the price, if when. You're the experts in that. We don't get involved in that. We're the experts in home improvement. We want to help it be done. We want to defer the cost till closing. We want to help you get to closing as quickly as possible. So that was one of the things that changed. We also used to have a project minimum, and we took that away. Because we saw so many agents, oftentimes there's this conception like a Curbio project either has to be this massive renovation and it's a derelict property and it's got to be this huge thing, or hey, I really just wish I could call one person instead of 4 people to patch my drywall holes and do my trim and do my carpets. And we realized that there was such a gap there, so we took away that minimum.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah.
So when somebody's coming in, I can't remember, I haven't used you in 5 years, so actually I'm 6 now.
Yeah.
The amount that they can spend.
Yes.
You're gonna tell us.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to go back actually to the previous slide because that's got my formula on it? Yes, so the amount that we can spend, it is based on the after renovation value in the home, which again, we look to y'all to be the experts on that. So what we do for our project budget calculation, we take 80% of the ARV, we subtract out any mortgages, liens, money owed on the home, and then that gives us our total available project budget. Usually, that's a pretty hefty amount of money we can work with. We're never trying to spend that entire amount of money because then that eats into profit, it eats into ROI, but that's how we calculate it. So as long as there's equity in the home, you can do projects. And again, that's where with the conversation with the home improvement consultant, your initial conversation, your walkthrough conversation, it's great to have those numbers. Again, y'all have those in your heads, but it's great to have those numbers so that you can really say, that's where you can start dialing in on that conversation with them. Look, if you want to spend X amount of your available equity, your available budget, here's what we can do. If you want to spend less, here's what we can do. So we really are able to have those dialed in conversations with y'all. Yeah.
Do you have we often get the question, but how much is this gonna cost, or what, give a ballpark of what things cost for improvements?
Yes.
Do you have any kind of hey, here's what a typical 12 by 14 room painted?
Yep.
Here's per fixture replacement.
Yep. Definitely. So a couple places that you can grab that. The app is the best because what you'll get there is sort of this generated, and you'll be able to see per project line itemed out ballpark, what it's going to cost. I will say, and I'm always transparent about this, we're never going to be your cheapest option. We're just not. We're a premium service. We are excellent for the clients. They don't want to manage it. Y'all don't want to manage it. We we see so many agents use us for things like inheritances or estates, or where the sellers may not even live in the state. So it's a great option for that. Even things like life changes, marriages, divorces, we're a great option for that, because again, you don't want to deal with home improvement and any of that, or finances really, right? You want to just be able to pay at closing. So again, think of the type of sellers you could use this for. Elderly clients are great as well. Again, they don't have to lift a finger. But yes, so the app is a great place to do it. And I share that about pricing, because often, the feedback I hear it at every single event, every single EXPCon, every single shareholders, people come up and they're like, your prices are insane. And I'm like, yeah, well, they're not going to be the cheapest. You don't want us to be the cheapest either, right? Like, your sellers aren't paying out of pocket. You're using our money up front, and we're providing you with this full value service.
It's a one-stop shop, too.
It's a one-stop shop,
You've got
yeah.
the designer, and you've got the
Yeah.
contractor, and you've
Yep.
got everybody, and somebody can see that.
Yep,
At the end, the return on investment is still gonna be there.
exactly.
A very specific type, seller.
Yes,
It is, it's like a niche seller, because if they're looking for like the cheapest everything and try to get, it's not the right fit.
Yep.
And you'd be wasting time, but for the ones that's looking for convenience or needing that money up front, that's like the best scenario. And they don't even blink an eye, like the one that we're working with you, he didn't even have any issues.
That's
The other
great.
one was trying to like line item everything.
Yeah.
It was too hard. Yeah.
well, and time and time again, it's like we'll see it where the agent will come to us. We'll build everything out. Build out the full quote for this is what the full Monty is going to be. If Curbio takes care of everything, and then we'll see it where the sellers want to like pick apart, and they're like, well, I'll DIY this, and I'll get my handyman to do that, and I hear from agents so often, we spent so much more time and it was so much more hassle. It's just not worth it, So again, great. I think it is a niche type of client. It's think of who the seller is going to be, but it's a great match, for someone who they don't want to lift a finger, they don't want to deal with the DIY stuff, they don't want to coordinate people, and neither do you.
And someone who has time, because it is a longer process.
Right.
You can get somebody in there to do a lot of that stuff simultaneously.
Yep.
Quickly and get the house on the market.
Yep.
And if that's a need,
Yep.
then.
How much more do you think you charge premium wise? 20% more than?
Yeah, maybe I'd
25?
say like 15-20% more. Yeah, much like any other GC, right? There's going to be a markup with other GCs. So yeah, I'd say it's comparable. I'll say we're competitively priced on purpose with other general contractors in our markets. But yes, I'd say, versus like your handyman or your local guy, it is probably going to end up being 15% higher. So yeah, just know that. Other questions? Yes.
When you're doing like a major remodel, like let's say like potential structural,
Yep.
are there any warranties provided for any of the work?
Yeah, good question. So structural and foundation repairs, I just found this, we just started doing foundation repairs. We did not used to do them. We do them now. It is I believe our PM said it's a third party though, so we contract with them. We offer and pass on a 1-year warranty for all the work that we complete. And I can tell you firsthand in talking to our PMs, an incredible amount of the work that they do day in and day out is going back and making sure that, coming in, making sure things are right, continuing to provide the promise that we delivered on. And so, yeah, it's a 1-year warranty after the work is completed. Yep. And it's our people going back, continuing to do that. So that passes on. Yeah.
You mentioned Curbio, talking about this during listing presentations. What material, like is this your
Yeah.
best handout to bring along?
Good question. I think I have a slide on marketing materials. I don't know if that's easy to find. Yes, 100%. We'll send you this presentation. I will say 2 places to send y'all just for like a catch-all of everything.
We used to have a pamphlet. We used to have a really nice pamphlet.
Yeah, we have one.
It was like a four-page.
Yep.
I don't have it anymore.
And the best place to go grab that, there's 2 places. Join our workplace group, in the pin post there's a link to marketing materials.
Okay.
We have it's curbio.com/exp is your Curbio landing page,
Okay.
Curbio EXP landing page. And from there, you'll see marketing materials. There's a ton of one-pagers, like seller-facing one-pagers and listing presentation inserts. There's also a hefty amount of agent education resources, just because we always, we want to empower y'all to bring this to every listing. And so there's, FAQs, there's me in a webinar sharing, an overview of this. There's seller videos, there's EXP case studies that you can share of completed projects. Social media posts y'all can update, personalize, push out with suggested captions and copy. So that's all on your marketing materials page. Again, it's curbio.com/exp. That's your landing page or bookmark it. And then from that site, you can grab marketing resources. And you can also, I mentioned, everything starts with an estimate, which you can do in the app, but you can also do it on that landing page. Just put in your information.
Is it /EXP?
Curbio.com/exp.
Yeah, it says it's under.
What?
It's right here, so if you.
You got it?
At the bottom here,
Yeah.
it takes you there.
Curbio.com.
Is it the same thing she said? I don't, it says under construction.
No, not on mine. Curbio.com/exp. Yes?
It worked.
It worked from the QR code? It worked when I just searched it. Am I cookied?
Go.curbio.com. Is that,
It shouldn't have to be, no.
no?
That's what it redirects to.
No,
Um,
mine pops up.
Weird.
Oh, here,
Weird. Okay, good. Works, maybe doesn't work. Use the QR code. That's what it's for. But then also, yes, join our workplace group. That, honestly, our landing page is great. We keep it updated, everything. But I always go to Workplace to grab info because it's all in the pin post. That's where the latest and greatest is. Every week, or pretty much every week, I share a highlight of our marketing materials, so you can grab those. So, yeah. Other questions? Yeah, and now just feel free. Questions, answers. Yeah.
So when you get a project, are there certain people like from a claim?
Yeah, so
Do you
good
have, like,
question.
oh, I'm just gonna,
Mhm.
I love John, I want
Yeah.
John to work with me.
We do. So yes, in terms of project, so home improvement consultants, like your first point of contact at Curbio, no, not by market. They're just, they're our sales team. They'll talk to everyone. When it comes to who your project managers are and who their contractors are, yes, they are local, they are our team. I can say Angela Bianchi, I use her all the time as an example, but we have agents who love working with her, and so they'll do subsequent projects and they'll just request. They're like, I want to work with her. Mm-hmm. So once you started working with someone, yes. We have many agents who built those relationships, and in terms of projects coming to us, sometimes they even end up skipping, our here's the formal process for requesting an estimate. They'll go to their PM and they're like, I have this other listing, help me. And it's the PM who brings us, who puts that in. So yeah, that's a goal, right? Is to develop that relationship. And I'll say, we have agents who go next level beyond that, who, look, Curbio, we're partnered at the national level with EXP, right? We're EXP solution in-house, part of your program. We are truly here to work with you. As agents, as a team, the sky's the limit in terms of how y'all want to white label, how you want to present it, how you want to showcase this solution. I always use the example. There's a Long and Foster agent who works with us, who uses us time and time again in the Fredericksburg area. She white labeled Curbio, calls it Pineapple Projects because her whole thing is Southern hospitality, and she's got a situation on her website that is our project manager, and it looks like she's part of her team, and she's like, I bring pre-listing updates, pay at closing pre-listing updates to every single project, work with me, I'm gonna make every listing move-in ready. So really, we see different examples. We have Veronica Figuerero in Florida from EXP, they've white labeled Curbio. We have so many teams who've done that, who've made it truly a part of their brand. And I think it's, we're always like, get creative with how you want to be presenting this. It's not necessarily that it's like, you have to say powered by Curbio on every, but make it your own and bring it to your sellers. We want to help you build your business, build your brand. And honestly, we love to see the creativity that agents and teams have with it, so.
Do you feel like your staging is also 20% above the other staging in the area, or is it comparable?
That's a good question. Staging that we've done in-house is new for us. I think it is comparable. I think it's comparable. I'll get more information on that though and share. Yeah. And that in-house staging, again, y'all can always work with your preferred stager, but our in-house staging right now, we're just doing it. It's in the DMV, it's in Baltimore, Richmond, and Philly. So,
Do you
yeah.
have examples of your staging on the website?
Not yet, I don't think.
Is it
I will
minimal,
ask.
Scott? Is it minimal staging, or is it full?
I think it's full situation. We do not do virtual staging. I feel like that's a hot topic among agents, right? Like down. Awesome, really?
That's exactly what people said to me. Yeah, and I had the boards and everything, and then when I staged it, it's so unbelievable.
Wow.
Staging it, it didn't work.
We do it for like hangout, 600 bullet, 515 bullet.
Yeah.
Scope it out.
Because one of the advantages is like not having that upfront cash, but like to like save some money for the seller.
Yeah.
How open is Curbio working with like certain projects and then having another contractor do other projects to potentially save sellers?
Yeah, we see that all the time where sellers or the agent, they're like, I want to cut my sellers a break, and I'm going to have my carpet guy do all the carpets, right? That's fine. We just have we're fine with that. I want to say we stipulate then that that work has to be done before us. There's an order where it's got to be done before us or it's got to be done after us, and it pertains to our warranty because we just don't want sellers calling us to say this carpet there's problems and it's like we didn't do it, so it's either that they've got to come in before us or after us. I'll find out for you, but that happens where sellers or the client, the agent wants to bring in their own people to save some money. That's fine. It's not like we're working side by side though. There's an order to it. Yeah, so that's fine. And that's just a conversation with your HIC. Like, thanks for this full fixed price proposal. We're going to take out these things. That's fine. I'll also say, there's often, change orders will happen during the process. So you might get the fixed price proposal that's a certain amount, and then you're doing the project and your sellers want to add on more, or there's surprises that come up. That's fine. It's all handled with a change order, just like any other construction would be. Other questions? Cool. Anything else? I'm happy to answer questions, talk specific scenarios. It really is, again, think of us as your go-to contractor, as your partner for all pre-listing updates of any size, any budget, no min, no max, and of course, deferred till closing completely. Yeah?
Oh, so pricing-wise, let's say a seller is thinking about using Curbio. Once they get kind of that full scope pricing, how long is that valid for them?
Always. That number doesn't change, unless they add to the scope of work. So yeah, if they go through our initial process, they get that fixed price proposal, and then they think about it, whatever, want to come back. That's why it's fixed. That's what that pricing is going to be. Yeah.
So when you're working with the seller and they're you've got a contract, they're pulling the confidential information on their mortgages.
Yep.
That's between you and them.
Right. Yes.
Access to all of that.
Yeah, and honestly, that's not me, right? We have a whole legal department. I was asked this the other day, what happens in terms of settlement? How do we actually get paid at closing? I know we work with the title company, but again, our contract is with the seller. And so, in terms of those legal questions, your HIC can speak to that in more depth, but we have a whole legal department that handles those and works directly with title. Do you want to go to, I just have some before and afters. I always love before and afters, right?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
pretty much at time.
I know we're at
Do
time.
a quick thing.
Yeah. You can skip this,
Yeah,
that's fine.
sure.
Before and afters are lovely. And yes, I want to be mindful of your time. Just to call out a couple EXP projects that we've done and the different types, scopes of work. This is one that we actually did in DC. And you can see numbers here. So great seller profit, ultimate sales price. The project cost here, $35,000. That is like a ballpark, like a pretty median project cost for us. Average project is around $40,000. And that, this is a full kitchen refresh. So you can see here we kept the cabinets, painted them, new backsplash and paint and faucets and everything. New vanity here. I mean, just made it look just, fresh and market ready. You can go to the next one. I love this project. This is one we did with Elena Phillips from EXP in Orlando. But a great, can you believe this is the same kitchen? It's unreal. And I talked about my house. We have these green countertops. Someone was like, this is what's possible. But it's gorgeous. Kept the same space. Absolutely. They talked about blowing everything out, making it big, but saved money by keeping the space the same. And again, this one's $47,000 worth of work, just the changes in the bathroom, reglaze the tub, put down new tile, new light fixtures, and everything that you see here is from Curbio. So appliances, backsplash light fixtures, that's all part of our materials catalog that your sellers select from. And yes, your sellers get to make the decision as to what goes in their home. So they're still getting to have that ownership piece. We know that can be a hard conversation to have, but yes, they get to be involved. And then the last one, if you want to go to it, this is just basic listing prep, just to show, $17,000 worth of work, what can be done. But just basic listing, changed out the vanity in the bathroom, deep cleaned everything, really just, even just minimal things like swapping out the kitchen hardware, what a difference that makes, getting everything just cleaned up and market ready. So just some examples. And I know Bix project was a big one. So we'll share some before and afters of that as well. But yeah, just great examples and price points of what can be done.
And once the project's over, you do the cleaning.
We do, yeah. You use us for deep cleaning, absolutely. Yeah.
They can
You
do
have,
landscaping, cleaning, all
Yep.
of it. So it's just, the nice thing about it is it's all one-stop shop, and we're so used to trying to jump in and do other stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need to, so it's better not to do anything, and just, logistics is a nightmare, but the sellers will ask, and because we're used to doing it, so sometimes we're like, okay, well, maybe, and I'm like, no, we're not gonna, and the fact that we did 2 projects at the same time. One was like horrendous, and it was way smaller, and we had to manage it all, versus the Curbio one, which was easy. And now, what I will tell you is timing. That's the issue sometimes for people. It's like it takes a longer period of time, but I'm telling you, if you try to do it yourself with them, it's gonna end up being the same amount of time anyway.
Yeah,
And it's gonna
yeah.
take up all your time.
Yeah.
But at first, when they say it, because the seller's like, I wanna list by in 2 weeks, and you're like, okay, we can try. But the thing is, you're gonna be completely taken off of your business. You're gonna do that all for them, and you're gonna lose all that time. Versus give it to Curbio, let them do it. You might take an extra week sometimes. So I like that you guys under promise, over delivered. They told us way longer, and we're like, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
They finished earlier by like 10 days.
Oh,
Or something.
amazing. That's great.
How
Good.
How long did they tell you?
It was like 45 days, which seemed like an eternity. It seemed like a long time.
And how
before.
quickly do you?
But it was a lot. This one was a lot.
Yes,
So it depends.
how
Yeah.
quickly do you usually start work, like the estimate?
It
is
was
how
fast.
long
So,
and how
I mean,
long
again,
is it?
you guys, it
Yeah.
might be different, but they told us longer, which is why it kind of scared us off. But
Yeah.
they got in almost right away within a week of us inquiring about it. They got in, I think, like in 3 or 4 days. And here's how it works is that you can give whatever pictures, which I know you guys already do, you do a lot of pictures, you can give that to them, that's a good starting point, but then they send a person out to do Matterport. So the Matterport person, they can work completely off of the Matterport, and then get the final details, and then you get on a call, you do like a conference call to go through to confirm these things that's in their proposal, and then you can do, there's a next call to do like selections, which I also like, because a lot of times it falls on us to pick the things, they already pick the stuff, so I'm like, thank God, I didn't have to pick anything, and I
Good.
just have to say that one, I recommend that one, or that one, or this one, as opposed to, they're like, can you go pick me like 3 lights, and we're looking
No.
for lights, it's
Yeah.
like taking forever, and so I liked that a lot, and the seller, after a couple, this is a pretty easy seller too, was like, you guys just take it all away, just pick whatever, I don't really care. So we ended up picking pretty much everything, and one of the things that Curbio said, you guys don't need to do, normally we do, I was like, well, if we're trying to keep costs low, then we'll probably bring our handyman later to do it, never needed to do it.
That's
So
great.
That was great,
Good.
so. But that would have been like 2 projects managing, and we're like, do we really wanna do that? And after all that, in the end, we didn't have to do it, and so that was
Yeah.
awesome.
That's great. I love hearing that. That's amazing. In terms of like when we get started, the timeline from requesting an estimate to signing a contract, that timeline, what I hear from agents is that's usually within 2 weeks. So like requesting your estimate, you're going to have something back in hand within 24 hours to put in front of your sellers. I mean, if your seller is gung-ho and ready to go, sure, it can happen within the span of a week that we can go from estimate to contract. But from what I hear from agents, it generally is within about 2 weeks. Which even then, they're like, that's great that I went from getting an estimate to pricing to contract within that amount of time. So, yeah.
You said, pardon me, that your sellers went and said, we want this in 2 weeks, but that didn't actually happen. They were just.
No, and that was it, was like, because it was the seller and me. Because you know when the market was feeling like it was shifting, we're like, we gotta get this on right away, and I was like, but the reality is some of the contractors we were calling couldn't even do it that fast. So it was like, what are we doing? We're just like, just accept it for what it is. It's going to be at least 30 days or longer. And it ended up being like maybe 45-ish days, but not even, and it's fine.
Great.
Yeah, it worked out okay. But I think that that's the hard piece, and what is the piece that you, as the agent, have to do is make time so that it can go fast. Like, when they say, I can get on the webinar at this time, get on that webinar at that time, so that you're not put, next in queue, and then it takes a little bit longer, so.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, and if anybody else wants to talk about the experience, I can go through it, because I pitched Curbio for so long, I've had very few people do it because of the cost, but it's because I wasn't pitching it right. And also, I don't know, so I can sell anything I believe in. I didn't fully believe it because I was like, well, we can do this for them. But in the end, it was to my detriment as the agent because I gave all my time and my team's time, resources
Yep.
to it. And it was great for the seller, but it was a loss for us in terms of time and what it took
We're
to do
all
it.
probably doing that.
Yeah.
One of my agents just used you guys, and she was very happy with it.
Good.
Lauren Hirsch over in Maryland.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
all well, so thank you.
Good. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, listen, y'all, I'm in marketing, right? I'm here to deliver this presentation, but there's no one who is better to ask. There's no one who's better to share what the experience is like than fellow agents. So talk to them and learn from them. And always we're here, feedback, questions, always. I'm in Workplace. Find me, chat me, send me messages, send us posts, and you can always email us. We're exp@curbio.com. So, yeah.
Really just know that